to the man of thoughts, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria, aka the villain of truth. Joining me today is one of my brother within the same environment, the same estate, and we have made a decision to have a discussion and insights, a discussion on how protest has actually been affecting a lot of families. And I know a few minutes from now, a lot of people will be joining us live. And so we would have to put that on hold, maybe when they join us live. Um, Questions can also be related. But we would continue with our own conversation while people can join us, and we are going to see a lot of message coming up. So joining me today is Mr. Ima. Gina Immaculate.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Yes, we have our own podcast, and I'm going to be putting out the description at the video on our podcast, the Big Ima podcast. Big Ima podcast. And in these conversations, we are growing that particular channel. As you join, you can also click on the description and then subscribe to that channel as we proceed. So let's talk about what is actually going on with the Nigerian protests, actually how it's affecting the family. So let's look at different things. First of all, I may want to ask you, sir, in today's episode, like how have protests in Nigeria impacted family dynamics and specifically relationships? What are your thoughts on it? How do you think these protests that we have been having right now, how has it been affecting families and relationships?
So let me start with a scenario. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah.
So let me start with a scenario. I have a friend. He's from the South region.
Oh, okay.
And the wife is from the West.
Oh, okay.
So, and at the beginning of this hunger protest slash end bad governance, I heard the conversation between him and his girlfriend, and the girlfriend was actually brutally annoyed that every time he's scolding the presidency, and those from the West for, because he believes the vote he has that put him into power was gathered between the Northerners and the West. And that the legitimacy of the presidency, winning the election, is put into questions. So the lady in question is not always comfortable, that is always, let me use the word, tackle his people. So to some extent, when I saw the scenario, I was just smiling, saying protest on the cause for Allah. So definitely the protest is affecting families in ways far beyond our imaginations. First of all, some families are made up of two different
call it ideology or political
regional setup. You understand? I mean, when I say regional setup, cultural backgrounds. Yes. Yeah. So, and you can't take the facts out of it that the protest is still something that, okay, look at what is happening currently. This protest basically, the Northerners has come out to show their real self. And this is something I've been saying that before now, we all have been praying that let the Northern youths too wake up to join us in calling for good governance.
Yeah.
Now they've woken up, every other region is mocking them. So you can see that as long as there is these tribal differences that is still differentiating us, that is still making us not see ourselves as one, then the protest will continue to affect us because they've turned the protest to a tribal thing now. Understand? So,
yeah.
And there's no how it becomes a tribal thing that it doesn't affect the family. So husband and wife that are not from the same region would always see, if the husband is supporting those that are calling for the protest, the wife will be saying, no. For example, if the husband wants to abandon his duty now and go to protest, the wife will be shouting, Ghana money be fine, Bobo.
Yeah.
Anything that happens, it will come back to affect the home. Understand? The protest too, so many people have lost their lives.
Yeah.
Persons, husbands, wives, children. So, I mean, there is no how you will lose your wife, or you will lose your child, or you will lose your husband, that it will not affect you. So you can see that why the protest too, as a whole, is his own advantage of, I mean, it's a way of also speaking. That is for a peaceful and organized protest. It's a way of also demanding good governance from the government. But when it is not properly managed and it becomes a chaos, then there is always a very brutal way it affects the family. Understand? Because when the roads are blocked, people will no longer be able to go about this.
Yeah. So you keep proceeding.
So husband will not see road go work, you know. Then again, in terms of emergency, why if we get belle, we want go deliver, we meet road block.
Yeah.
You go born for road now.
True.
And if God no take control, he kick buckets.
True.
So you can see these are ways it comes to affect the home. Understand? These are ways it comes to affect the home. But if it is well structured, you know, it might not necessarily affect the home. And what do I mean by if it is well structured? You know, I've heard people keep saying protest is your constitutional right. Now, the kind of protest that is your constitutional right is that type that is peaceful and organized. So what does it mean for you to be peaceful and organized? I mean, we meet in a particular place. We, even if we are processing along the road, we make sure we leave a reasonable, I mean, we are not covering, we are not blocking entirely the road so that movement can be, you know, those that want to go for their medical checkup can go. Those that want to go to workplace can go.
Yes.
So at least there should be different stages of engagement of that protest. And if there is no result, until then people can now decide to say, maybe let it go the other way around. But even if it must go the other way around, everything has to be structured. Understand? We have to have people that are ready to, you know, participate in engaging with the government. I mean, we've called on them. The president have come out to make a speech. Whether the speech is making sense or not, I'm not the judge of that. But if a president have come to say, okay, I'm ready for dialogue, now it's left for us as protesters to come together, you know, and form a team. I know the fear is always the fact that people at the end of the day will be clamped down on and all of that. But where is the word that says no pain, no gain, you know? For us to achieve, there must be some level of sacrifice.
Do you think the protest itself has been, what will I call it, has been a peaceful protest?
It has not, though it started as, but it has not at the end of the day. I mean, you can't call what is happening in the north a peaceful protest. So any protest that have claimed the life of a protester is not a peaceful protest.
And why do you think it's not? Who are the people that are most likely at fault with this protest stuff?
So the thing is, I think both the government and the people. So the government does not believe the people to protest peacefully. And that is why in their own political space, they try to gaslight the protest by going, you know, having a, you know, this back-end intrusion of thugs and all of that. Now, the protesters on their own too sometimes cannot bear all these intrigues of politics by containing their temperaments while protesting. So what do I mean by the fact that they cannot contain their temperament? If there is an hoodlum that is coming to attack on a protest ground, there should be dynamics and system in place, you know, to ward off those hoodlums peacefully, without turning the whole thing. Because the moment the whole thing becomes a chaos, you've now given a room for the government to bring in the use of force. Then again, I've seen the police in recent days trying to, you know, protect those that are protesting peacefully. How effective have they maintained this peace and order even in the face of hoodlums coming to attack them. So the whole thing is just, both the citizens and the government is going to share the blame, because for you to protest peacefully, you have to be ready in terms of your emotions, your intellect, everything. You have to put it at alert to ward off whatever distraction that might come to your peaceful protest. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but the situation whereby, I mean, look at what is happening in the north now, and these are the northern youth that we've been waiting upon. You understand? Now they've come on board. They've turned the whole thing to, a show that is beyond us.
Yeah.
Bringing on another country's flag and all of that. So all of this will come back to affect the home, because the home is where we all rely upon. So if,
in fact, the basics of every individual comes with family.
Yes, with family. So if everybody you see on the street of protest has a tie, either to a wife, to a parent, or to a friend.
Yeah.
And if anything goes wrong, it is the family that bears the brunt, not entirely the government.
Yeah. When you touched on certain things, you talk about the northerners, and then you said, or you spoke on how it actually, maybe someone can lose their life because the people who are protesting are blocking the whole road. And that was exactly what I've been having. There are a few interviews I've had with certain of my brothers. We did a live video about last week, almost 3 live or 2 live video. Mr. Olubode Adeola. We used to have all these conversations. I haven't seen him face to face, but
Okay.
we met online, and then he's part of my audience also.
Okay.
And we started touching on all those things. For me, I looked at it from the beginning that the reason why the protest has not been going in a good way, and it's really affecting the family, was basically because we have continuously used the same one particular pattern to talk about the protest, or to address the protest. And that is like we start and we say we want to protest, and the protest becomes irrational. And what I mean by irrational is that ever since we have begun the protest, there is no organized way of protesting. Yeah. You can hear the likes of Sheun Kuti, the likes of Rufai Oseni, the likes of Sheun, the likes of Very Dark Man. A lot of people come out and tell you that, oh, let's go out and protest. But let us look at it on a serious level. Like, what are the things that have been organized? Even asking ourselves with this activist called Moyele Sowore, when these people want to organize protests,
as my comrade,
yeah, what is being set in place for us to have a long-lasting protest? Yeah. And so, for us to protest that we have to block the whole road, then we are trying to say that if we are protesting, then everybody would not be able to move. There's a difference between protest and strike.
Yeah.
If we are striking, we can say we strike and nobody is going to work.
Yes.
And those are even certain maybe government's particular set of people. If you have a private industry, you most likely would not care and you still do whatever you want to do. But when you begin to infringe your protest on other people, and you think that if we are protesting, you guys are not supposed to pass or something like that, it really shows that we are not prepared for it. As youth, why we even make a decision to fight or to protest, we are not putting our family into consideration. Yes. Because like you rightfully said, what if someone's wife is pregnant? Trust me, if you want to go through all these protesters, when they are actually angry and the police is not there, then most likely it becomes impossible.
I have a friend that during this period of protest came from the east. So he said when they got to Benin, they were practically stopped by the protesters and were forced to join the protest. He spent 4 hours he spent 4 hours at Benin just because of trying to pass through the protesters, you understand? So for me, yes, my own thoughts, not everybody might want to agree, you understand? There should be stages to these things. If you want to hold on your government, there should be stages. So the protest should be planned. The different stages of protest must be properly planned, where, you understand, protest leaders should not just be those that do not understand the constitution of the country, or those that do not have the resources to lead. Let me put it that way. Resources in the sense that If you want to form, this is my own view. Every other person can disagree. Understand?
Yeah.
But for me, if you want to be a protest leader, I mean, you should be well articulated with the law. You should have a very strong law advisor. You should have a lawyer. Understand? Because you should have a lawyer that can withstand, you know, the stress of government when they come for you, you know. And you should know that this is a sacrificial job you want to do. A protest leader or a revolutionist is somebody that is ready to, you don't just call on revolution by word of mouth. Are you ready to shed blood? Are you ready to die? Understand? So that when you are ready, you will not be afraid to lead. And that is why, for me, I think for a very long time, I've been a fan of Shure. Yes, he might have his own ups and downs. Nobody is perfect. But that is one comrade so far that I've seen that has come out over time too. I mean, he has been to prison, has come back. He's still standing, calling for revolution.
Do you think now that we realize that it's not in the country?
Yes.
What way do we look at that act when you call for people to go protest? You and your family, you are not available.
So the question is, before now, has he been available? Has he led? You understand? So you need to understand that he's also a family man. I'm not here to defend him, though. I'm just telling you one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite comrades out there. Also, as humans too, you also have families that over time might not be aligned to your vision. No matter how you have a joint dream with your wife, there will still be some that is personal to you because you have the full knowledge of where you are going to. You understand?
Yeah.
So your family might share part of it, or they might agree at first to say, okay, this dream you are chasing, or we are together. But when the old bass goes started, they will start pulling out. I mean, this is a man that has been confined to Abuja for almost how many years before? I mean, he was now being released and is back to his family abroad to have some time. But for the fact that just to keep the hope and alive that yes, we need to take back the country. I mean, so the thing is, why you are calling for protest wherever you are or wherever is going to lead the people, like I've been saying, it has to be structured and you have to be prepared. A protest leader or a revolutionist is not somebody that when the police start coming or when government start coming, you start denying your stand or you start coming to life. We cannot do this, so because to face the government is tough. To ask the government for accountability, for good governance is tough. These are sacrifices that we need to. So as youth, first of all, we need to ask ourselves, are we ready? Because all these protests, we are just doing it out of anger, emotions, hungry, like they say, but we are not ready. I bet you, out of the majority of persons that have come out to protest, if you give them as little as an 100,000 naira job now, half of those protesters will disappear. Or does that solve this situation? Will a 100,000 naira job prevent a bad leader from ruling us in a bad way?
Yeah.
So the
all
first
he has
thing
to do is to increase the fuel price.
Yes. So then your 100,000 naira becomes worthless. So the first thing is for us to ask ourselves, are we ready? As youth now, I can't speak to our parents. A lot of them has failed us. So, but as youths, are we ready? And how ready are we? If we are ready, discrimination will disappear. All those ones that my brothers in the East are saying they will not join. Yes, they have a genuine excuse because they don't want the whole thing to come back at them. I mean, they start burning their shelves in the West or they start putting the whole thing on P2B. But if we are ready, as far as I'm concerned, yes, P2B has a very, wonderful personality. But as youth, we would look above that to come together as one and strategize and plan. So our planning, we start from how ready we are, then we'll start the protest from one stage. Peaceful protest means us having a designated place of protest. If we are processing to a designated place, to our point of call. Every youth in their states, let's go. We are just looking at the president. We are not holding the governors, the senators accountable. These people are also doing more harm than good.
That's exactly what I've been saying.
There is no state in Nigeria that the allocation has not been increased. So, but how are the governors still leading? The senators, those making the law.
Yeah.
So when we are ready, we'll focus and strategize, and we'll start, okay, for example, today, those of us in the West, or if it's a nationwide protest, okay, the agenda is to go to the state houses. Then everybody organize on a straight line. Let an average transporter, businessman, whoever that doesn't want to join, go about their businesses the right way. We go to our state governors' offices, drop our agenda, listen to them. If there is a need for bargaining, we do that. Have a well-structured representative. In a situation whereby they pick one of our leaders, there's somebody in to fill in the space. As they are picking, somebody is filling. As they are picking, till the tire picking. Then when that is not yielding results, we can now start using other tools of protest. But not just that, out of emotion, somebody declares online, tomorrow, 10th of the 5th to 1st of August to 10th of August, is nationwide protest. Yeah. Let's come out, and we all come out, some with sane mind, some with anger, some with hidden agenda. Then at the end of the day, there is chaos in the land. It will come back to haunt us.
Yeah. And I think one of the bad things that is actually doing, which is part of our conversation, is the way it's actually affecting family, and it's really destroying family in certain places. Those who have not been able to get things together. Now, before we even proceed on this, how it affects relationship and the rest of it, we'll have to look at, there was something that was even going on. Maybe we can just branch there a little bit of, there was a news yesterday where they said certain people are sponsoring the protests. And they said a lot of people that are in diaspora are the ones sponsoring Nigerians. And so the government is like, most of these people who are sponsoring them, we are waiting for them to come back to Nigeria. And once they come, the law is going to get them and the rest of it. How do you view that?
One thing about protests or anything that has to do with politics is that there would always be this news of sponsorship, be it true, be it untrue. Yeah. I don't know. Understand? I've never organized any protest, so where I would have seen a sponsor. So I think the government, they have, I mean, they are the custodian of information to a very large extent. Whatever thing you are saying on phone, if they want to get the details, they know how to go about it. They know how to infringe on your rights without even you knowing. And even if you know, without them putting in your face that you can do nothing. So if they are coming out to say there are people sponsoring the protest, that is just to tell you how unready they are to face the reality of their failure. If you are doing the right thing, people will not sponsor protest. Understand? So whether they are sponsoring it or not is none of my own concern. My own concern is let them yield to the call.
Yeah.
The purpose of the protest is to call on good governance, is to call on the wealth of the nation going around. There is hunger.
True.
The truth is, the more you even in now, the lesser your when Baba the talk saying go reduce our purchasing power, which is saying a joke. Most people in their places of work now, salaries have been increased.
Yeah.
But still yet, I saw something on social media a couple of days ago. Somebody saying when minimum wage was 30,000 naira, the impact it made was far greater than the impact this 70,000 naira now.
True.
Yeah, to a very large extent. Understand? It is. Because, I mean, things are expensive. The market, God, the prices in the market only by minutes basis, it is increasing. So it's something that they need to look at. Okay, why are people sponsoring these things, or why are there so much interest?
If there was money, would people ask for sponsors?
Yeah, if there were food, if we have food, we will have energy to come and fight or to come and, I mean, you understand? You know, hunger leads to two things. If you are hungry, you are supposed to be weak. But when your hunger becomes anger, you will have that energy. You'll be ready to face your slave masters.
Yeah.
So they should focus on fixing the country rather than focusing on who is sponsoring protests
and who is not sponsoring the protests. If they do their own part, things will be better.
Yes,
that's the most important thing.
People are hungry. They should fix that.
Now, let me even ask a question regarding this family stuff, because let's just look at the family aspect. In what ways do family members support each other during these times of political, do you call it political unrest or hardship? In your experience?
Yeah. So first of all, we just need to continue to check up on each other. You understand? Almost every day, I try to reach out to my loved ones, you know, via chat. Sometimes I call. In the essence of social media, outside making money out of it, is also so that it can increase the medium of reaching out to one another.
Yeah.
So I was also friends, you know, ask how the protest be for your side. You go protest, be careful, safety first too, you know. So I mean, reaching out to one another is a means of supporting each other.
So would you encourage any of your family to go protest?
I'm a comrade now. Why not? If it is structured.
Yeah, I'm saying based on this particular protest we are actually experiencing now. Do you think
so? It's not structured for me, so I can't. You understand?
Yeah.
So it is structured and peaceful, but it's still. I mean, if you can bear the risk, though, you can. You understand? The moment, I mean, you should be mature enough to see when the whole thing is no longer safe and it's becoming rowdy, to leave and go to your house. I mean, you should have the purpose why you are going to join the protest. I'm going to join a protest is to bring out my own voice to say, government. So the moment it is going out of the agreed plan and structure, go to my house. Nobody can hold me.
Yes.
So
okay, so people can only support themselves by just informing themselves, but sometimes, you know, in situations like this,
there are many ways to support.
There might be financial,
yes. So if you have a genuine friend, I want to go to the protest and it is genuine, it doesn't have transport, you can send. So it's one way of also supporting. Understand? So, but for us as persons also is to look at the fact that there is hardship generally all over the country. So what is that excess that I am having that somebody else needs? Yes. You know, being a Christian, being a Muslim is not just to say it by word. So your act of practicing charity is needed at this most important time, not only in the period of Lent or Ramadan alone. So this hard time, how do you support one another? You are seeing your neighbor that as the children are just there in the street playing, they don't have hope of food, and you can still afford 3 square meal. You understand?
Yeah.
So how are you helping to say, okay, guys, let's share? You understand?
Now that would lead me into something, a question I would even ask. It might go towards family, but as actually we are going to split it into something else. When you look at the aspect of the churches right now, we had a news last week where churches were giving people guide, and we are like, churches were the one who always organize people to even do election. In fact, I always say that the political leaders and the pastors and the religious leaders, they are almost 5 and 6. But right now, when it comes to the aspect of their members telling them to go for their rights, and remember, most of all these churches have been receiving offering and tithes every single week, if not even 3 times in a week. So how come would they use money that when we find ourselves in situations like this, they cannot even give people rice and stuff like that? We might agree that things are kind of expensive, but for it to get to the point whereby they give you Gary, what kind of view do you now have with churches? at this particular junction.
I think they get they give you. I think they get they give you. If not Gary, they get give.
You know, say that there is this rumor that is going on that some governments are settling some religious leaders.
So no, it's not rumor. Okay, it's rumor.
Yeah.
But there are some of these clips we saw on social media now. I mean,
definitely,
governments are to a very large extent too. They are to be held responsible for this protest turning into violence. You understand? Because the moment the people start saying they want to protest, you know, it is in the constitution that protest is a right. Allow the people to protest. Support them with security agencies to maintain the peace and order. But you see that they start instigating, buying off student union, all the union body, union leaders, calling on traditional leaders, you know, to advise their ward not to protest. So all those actions that are seen to jeopardize the protest will not be welcomed by the youth that want to protest. So it simply means that you know that you are not doing well. So now that we want to tell you, you are trying to look at those that can tell us not to. So let them maintain focus on leading the country out of hardship.
Yeah, is one of the things that I've been advocating on. I say that most Nigerians, we would have known by this time what kind of leaders we have. And for me, I like holding myself accountable more than holding other persons accountable.
Yes.
At least you would know that I have done some kind of things, like maybe part of our experience of electricity here. When I was experiencing what I had to experience in the jail, I held myself accountable. I made this happen, but I knew psychologically in my head what I was trying to do, and I have to pay the price to make sure that effect actually comes. So don't we think that as youth, we made the decision to choose the kind of leaders that we have? And right now, the leader is showing us exactly what we knew it was in the past, and why are we complaining right now? So if you want to change bad governance, why did you elect the bad government, even when you understand that this person was not right for the person? Now, there's also these excuses that a lot of us are kind of giving, that they expect he was going to do this and that, and some of them are even arguing that he did not win the election. But at least we can say that he won 30% of the election. So if we are sensitizing ourselves with the right information, do you think that we would have gone towards this route to elect this kind of person?
So one of the things that I regret most, or that pains me so much in Nigeria, is how youths that are going into parents, how we are failing ourselves. You understand? You said you like holding yourself accountable. I love that. That is one singular thing that is wrong currently with this country. The level of indiscipline, unaccountability in the youth that we have currently now is so alarming. In short, I have a fear. Unfortunately, we are on air. I won't be able to air it, so that not to discourage those that still have so much hope that this country is fixable. Because when they say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, but the leaders of tomorrow that are prepared to lead. That leadership of tomorrow is falling on the laps of so many youth currently. Understand? I'm in a space where I do a lot of, I am fully engaged in terms of youthful leadership and all of that. I see things. So when I tell you that I'm scared of our future, the future might be worse than what we are experiencing with our parents. If we do not start consciously holding ourselves accountable. I tell people, my first tertiary institution, Institute for Industrial Technology, IT, one of the things I take out of the so many things I learned outside the technical skill is the fact that in going through that school, they added to what my parent taught me, which is freedom with responsibility. Understand? You are free, but they will make you understand that whatever you are using your freedom to do, when the consequences come, you must stand by it. Freedom with responsibility. So you have a lot of our youth these days, we don't want to take responsibility. And this is why it pains me so much that a lot of our social media, a lot of our, what do they call them, superstars, they celebrities, they are failing to cut this consciousness, they are failing to remodel their followers, they are failing to teach their followers that accountability, that discipline, that we need to accept and blame ourselves first of all when we fail, and work on ourselves before doing start. Now my uncle wey dey village, now send me go school. Now my uncle wey dey abroad, they send money for me. We are just full of entitled people. This is a hard time. Have you noticed the rate of people, the rate that people went into agriculture this year? Yeah. Or you've not noticed?
I have not noticed it that much. What I feel is like people are not even trying. That's what I'm observing. Like people are not really trying.
No, this year, the amount of people that went into farming, this is something that should, you will see somebody that studied agriculture in the university, comes out from the university, still waiting for a white collar job by the government, where we have a whole lot of
vast land.
Most of these wealthy, rich men we are seeing these days, how do you think they become wealthy and rich? It is not every one of them that the government empowered. Some of them actually started from the scratch by holding themselves accountable, by asking themselves, the government has failed us. So what can we now do? So that level of not accepting or not holding ourselves accountable and not being disciplined.
Yeah.
See, these two things is ruling our nation. Outside the leadership of, outside the bad leadership we are experiencing, we as individuals, how disciplined, how accountable are we? So if at the end of the day we ask for, we protest and there is a result, let's even assume in our wildest dream, the government succumb and say, okay, we want to appoint some of you to come and start taking this position so that you can be leading our right. What is that assurance that we'll be able to appoint those that will lead us well?
So that's exactly part of the things I've really been touching on. That
so
Nigerian youth
protest is good.
Yeah,
our leaders has failed us. Why we are calling for this and asking for accountability? Let us speak to ourselves. Let everybody, because this change will start from us. You understand?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of us are leaders in our places of work, in our places of worship.
Yeah.
How are we leading? How are we representing? How are we changing Nigeria? How are we impacting life? Work go come because they don't give you, when they don't give you money, you don't want to give a contract. You understand?
Let us even quickly touch on this part. What do you think is the impact of the religious effect on this protest of what is actually going on?
So it will make me go back to where you were talking about churches distributing food. I once read or listened to Reno Mokri actually advising the president that I think it's high time he also needs to now also explore the distribution of all these palliatives he has given. See, our governors and senators, they are doing a more bigger harm than the presidency. Do you know how much has been given to different states to reduce the impact of this hardship? I'm not an economic expert, you understand, but I listen to people. Some persons believe removing this subsidy is a good thing, you understand? So, and if it is a good thing, and that the nation must experience hardship during this period, if the presidency has come out to bring forth some things to alleviate this hardship, now the people that are in charge, how are they making it go round? The governors and the senators, they are sitting on it. So if Randy was saying it's high time he looks into the religious channels, at least we are not saying religious leaders are not corrupt, but I'm still very sure, at least if they give, let's say, out of 100 bags of rice, for example, at least 60 will reach everybody, will reach go out, go reach where you're supposed to reach. You understand?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about it.
No, because
I have different perception when it comes to the aspect of
I don't know
people.
Permit me to share one of your experiences you told me when you came back from the other side of life. That you said you saw some churches actually, you know, feeding the prisoners and all of this. These churches are doing it on their own practices, religious belief and all of that. So if such thing is still happening, it gives. So when I heard you saying it, I said, wow, then there is still hope. Our religious body are still trying. You understand?
Yeah.
So if the government thinks that they really need, they should give it to those that are closer to the people. Everybody they go church, everybody they go mosque, many people they go shrine. So give it out to those that we touch, that can distribute it.
Is it with the information of telling people that
they should not protest?
No. Is it with the information of telling people that, oh, we have allocated this so stuff to this amount of religious leader? Because let us understand.
No, see, so whenever, if it is going to be, if they want to partner with so I think maybe some religious body too, we actually reject it because they wouldn't want anything that will stain their reputation.
Even when they collect bribes to preach for
for me,
elections.
I know they like talk with you.
When you hear pastor where they talk, say you must vote Tinubu. If you did not vote
first of all,
or something like
pastor or an imam, now human being first before you become pastor. You understand?
But these people are influential. In fact, a lot of people believe they are pastors.
That is why that is why our mentality as Nigerian youths needs to change, because we need to start preaching the right thing around loyalty, belief. You need to have the right understanding. You need to know that your daddy Gio or your mommy Gio, now human being first, is bound to make mistakes. So that when they are preaching the obvious.
What kind of mistake? Corruption?
No, not corruption. Mistake in the sense that they have feelings to tell you to vote for who they like.
Shouldn't that be restricted, that a church, at least religious body, should have the senses that I, as a pastor, as a leader of a church, I understand that it is an independent and a civil right of everyone to choose whoever they want to vote. I shouldn't be participating in talking about political things in the house of God.
Many religious bodies put in these restrictions, you understand? But
they do.
Their disciples or their pastors or their workers sometimes too want to yield to their human part. Why some of these bodies also still sanction their persons? You understand? At least vividly, I'm a Catholic. I remember the last scenario with Father Umbaka. And so when his bishop couldn't take it again, he put him out for some time, send him to the monastery. Because as if you are forgetting your purpose. Go and recollect, go and rediscover yourself. When you are preaching about, if you must preach about about politics, you need to be very detached. Yes. It should be about preaching to the subconsciousness of your members to vote for the right persons, not you telling them the right person.
Let me ask a question now, because this one now we go come fight for you. Because the question I want to ask is this: how do you think that the duty of a religion, because I let people understand, part of my understanding is this: every religion is a combination of culture and tradition with the ideology of God. Now, the church itself is just an institution, and the basic work of a church is actually to teach you how to be able to become conscious so you can have a discovery with God. So, and in that way, it builds a morality which we can call that righteousness, in doing what is right, so you can always have that cordial relationship with God. Now, when you deviate from what your institution is basically meant for, and you start going into the idea of there is God, and then you start talking about political issues, Now, how can you fit both of them into the same profile? There was a time we can look at the life of Samuel in the Bible. God tell him, go and anoint this so person. During those times, religious leaders have a very big power. More or less, they were in the same category with the king, in a sense that the pastors or the leaders, religious leaders, then were called the priests. And even they are more kind of powerful than a king, in a sense that, okay, we want to call people
because
together.
the people believe they are hearing directly from
God. But right now, these things has been stripped away. Your duty should have been that you need to raise the consciousness of people to be righteous, to be morally correct in a certain sense, and to be able to communicate with God. If they do have this understanding, to make the right choice wouldn't be difficult. But when you tell them to make a vote for something, now that means as you as a pastor, you are also going to be held responsible.
So, yes, your ideology is right to some extent.
Tell me where it is wrong.
No, so the wrong, no, it's not that it's been wrong, but it's that you are trying to limit the ideology of what religion is.
Okay, you will fully explain what the...
So for me, if you're attaching religion to morality, you understand, it's not out of place also to sensitize. I mean, preaching about or empowering your consciousness to be able to vote for the right person without, how will I put it, without influence or any biased mind is also within their space.
How do you know the pastors? How do you know the pastors who have not received money from the government?
How do I want to know that? It's
so
not my...
Why, when you know that things like this can be done?
The thing is, I think what we should preach about, you understand, or what we should condemn, because you understand that the ideology of, or the institution of religion cuts across every aspect of our lives. For example, in this country, there was a time you believe that as a good Christian, you should not have anything to do with politics. But a good Christian, they go work, they go school, get family, is in a community. All of these 4 aspects of life that I've mentioned is things that you cannot remove from politics. In your place of work, you are working, at the end of the year, you will be appraised to be promoted or for your salary to be increased. So that singular act of it is also politics. In your community, landlord association or association of a house owner, whatever they call it, CBA, you will be expected to participate your own contribution as a person. Individually. Then over time, collectively.
Now, that leads me to let me break down something. I said this earlier, that religion's institution is based off culture, tradition, and the ideology of God.
Yes.
Right? Now, the Bible says something, come on, teach your child in the way to go, and when you grow, you will not depart from it. Now, in Yoruba adage, you say that that means a child that you don't raise right would sell the property. So if you teach a child the right way to go, you don't necessarily have to teach the child how to think.
Yes.
So if your duty is not to teach, the first thing you teach a child to do is to know how to think for himself. Not to tell a child how to think for himself. So if you begin to tell people, like when you talk about political
don't forget that at a stage in life, you will be the one to think for that child.
There was a time you need to think for that child. But is that responsibility on a pastor? To tell a grown-up church member how to make political choice, and in fact you depend on these particular members to feed. How do you know that you know more things about political things than the
pastor is not also out of the society?
No, I'm not saying it's out of the society. What I'm saying is this: it's part of the society, But these people are working, a lot of members in the church are working in different aspects of life. So they know the financial consequence of many things they do. Most pastors, only what they know how to do is start an offering and bring money for building of houses. So you don't have more experience.
Don't forget that the pastor also is supposed to an extent to be like a voice or a conscience, because now, like you've itemized in your description, that most pastors are just, I mean, let me say, tied to their church, while a lot of your members are out there facing the real hustle of life. So there's a tendency for them to backslide or to go off track. You understand? So as a conscience or as a voice, you should constantly echo, you understand, the voice, or you should constantly echo the right thing that is supposed to stand as a reminder. Should be a conscience. A lot of people, if you put a lot of people now, some persons cannot tell you the last time they sat down to actually regenerate about their actions. They are just there in the world trying to face, So when you come to a church, or when you come to the church is the person. So when you have a good community of God's people, and you are relating with your fellow God's people, whatever actions you've done during the day, there should be something that is bringing you your subconsciousness to say, okay, I've gone off track today, or okay, I've done a mistake, or I've not lived a good life. I've not lived a good model's life today. Okay, when I go in tomorrow, I should do better, or I should adjust my mistake, or I should not do this. So there should be that voice. They are not telling you or trying to how will I put it, like you said, now they are the one controlling you on your choices. No, there should be a voice, like John the Baptist was described as the voice in the wilderness. It's calling for conversion. You understand? So there should be that voice that is calling us back to the right way of doing things. That voice that will call our political leaders back, because that is their so-called responsibility.
Call our political leaders back is something I would agree with. What I am saying is telling the members who they should vote, because there are certain churches that I've seen online.
Yeah, see, like I said,
if you vote this person, God is going to destroy you and stuff like that.
That one, now them and God get judgment. Understand? So the Bible.
What I'm saying is this, Lisa. What I'm saying is this. People always, you see, there's what we call, I read a particular book, I can't recall the book, but there's a book that says, do not underestimate the power of influence. That means the people you put around you.
And that is what is happening in Nigeria. Yes, I quite agree with you that some persons have used their influence negatively. That is not in alignment with their own institution orders. So you need to understand when a pastor is doing something out of his own free will, not in accordance with the rules and regulation of his order. And that is what so many persons are doing. You understand? I will give you a scenario. The governor of Benue used to be a Catholic priest. The moment he made his choice, the church made him to understand he cannot be a priest and be a governor. You have to. But he felt maybe he can do it better. Maybe people that have been doing it before now, okay, we are a church and we would stand by it. So, but if you want to go and do this, you have to pull your whatever. So he has resigned as a priest. Hey, good morning. So he will not come to the political space, or he will not come to the television and come and be telling you that he's speaking as a priest, or he's speaking on the authority of the church. He does not have that authority anymore. He's speaking as Governor Hyacinth.
Yeah, but
so we need to understand. So a lot of these people are putting their individuality into their actions, and
so based on your points,
so like I was saying, we need to understand that all of these institutions have a role. have a role, but that does not mean that their individual representative will not be overshadowed by their personality once in a while. So only few of them have that consciousness to always refrain themselves. And that is why this thing of discipline is not just to one person alone, it's to everybody. Understand? Ronaldo will tell you, or people will say that Messi is the gifted one, but Ronaldo is the most hardworking one. Understand? Whether true or not so true, what I can tell you about is Ronaldo wasn't a disciplined person, he wouldn't have achieved so much. Likewise, Messi. You understand? If Messi wasn't a disciplined person, he wouldn't have achieved much. I mean, look at some persons that have been pointed to be that great, to be in their level, but along the road, maybe some could not keep to a regiment diet, some could not reduce their life of the party, some could not do away with the extra baggages of ladies and all of that. And you will see the fact that this comes. So for every of our action, there is a way it comes to bite us. So for a pastor that is living his pastoral work of being a good shepherd to his flock by being a conscience to speak to them, reminding them of their purpose, which is to serve God in truth and in spirit. And in serving God in truth and in spirit is trying to bring everything they do to reflect God. If everybody is doing everything reflecting God, we'll not be in this scenario. So greed will disappear.
Yeah. What I've been proposing is this. You see, when I was speaking yesterday, I had a lot of people who joined me live. Mostly, if you look at our audience stuff, there's a way YouTube shows you what time your audience will be on live and what time your audience wouldn't be on live. You will have all those kind of information, and then most times they are always available in the evening, but weekends it's a different time. So right now I know most people are not really available. So some people are just going through it, and then they will go back to whatever they are doing. But what I'm trying to say is we had much discussions and we spot on many things. And the purpose why I make this particular channel was like, I want to use it to be able to share information rather than we just talking on women and all those kind of unnecessary things that a lot of social media.
We need to talk about things that are affecting us as a person and as a nation.
Yeah. Yes. So, but one of it is that we have to have a stand, and that stand is what I want to know. Do you think that it is advisable for churches, for pastors, for leaders in the church to be talking about political things, or do you think that it shouldn't be advisable that most churches should do that? Because one person might listen to this and we just tell his pastor, anything that has to do with politics next time when we want to do election, please don't talk about it, because you are influencing the congregation to make. Because we should understand this also, that a lot of people who also go to church are illiterate. What I mean by illiterate is that we have elderly people who cannot even, they are not educated in many ways, and so whatever you tell them, they just naturally believe it and they make decisions based off it. And then there are other illiterates that we will talk about. They go to church but they don't read the Bible, and when they don't read the Bible, they cannot even build their own consciousness to be able to make the right choice for their life. And so those are the faces I'm looking at. What will be your own stand on the aspect of, should churches talk about political issues or they shouldn't?
So Mother Teresa of Calcutta once said that the Bible most people read is the life of a good Christian. So most people cannot read the Bible, but the way you live your life is what people see to say, oh, this person is a Christian. So why am I saying this? I really don't want to say we should advise the church. Or
I'm not saying we advise. I'm just saying what is your stand.
My own stand is, whatever thing you're going to speak about, be it politics, be it education, be it life generally, just speak truthfully from the stand of God. You understand? And when I say from the stand of God, I'm not saying God coming to tell you, no. Everybody, except we want to be lying. At a point, every man knows what is good. You have a conscience. So you should don't speak. There's difference between speaking from the point of being good and speaking from the point of emotion. The last election that went, a lot of people would have loved to still vote for Peter Obi, but were influenced by their tribal reasoning. So, and like I've written about in my status and some of other places, a good leader is not in a particular religion, is not in a particular tribe, is not in a particular state. Yes, every state are good, every state are bad. Every religion good, every religion bad. Understand? So we should be matured enough to know what we want. So if what we want is a good leader, now we need to start going back to look at how has this person lived his life in every aspect of leadership he has been able to attain. For example, I am a growing young man. I've had the opportunity to lead in some places. So let's say peradventure tomorrow I'm running for a political office. Now I'm not expecting people to start voting for me based on the fact that they know me. When I was this, I was that. No, let's go back. When I was leading and so, how did I lead in that office? What impact did I make? In terms of finances, how did I fare? Did I embezzle? What did I leave behind? Was I accountable? When I was handing over, were there drama?
Yeah.
Was I attached
to the position?
So these are things we need to begin to look. In what situation, how have I managed it? Not just to do because he give you my pikin sick, I pay my hospital bill. Yeah. Because to lead as a leader, that position you are going into has its own challenges. Some of us cannot even manage our home. We are talking about managing a whole country. Do you think it is easy to make a decision?
Now, my own take would have been this. For me, when it comes to religious...
Sorry to cut you again. Then another thing about this religion of it, why I said I wouldn't advise whether they should discuss, church should discuss about religion or not, about politics or not, is because, over time, we've just been encouraging that churches should start sensitizing people. Let Christians come into play. Let good Christians come to politics. Let good Muslims come to politics. Because if you are saying because you are a Christian, the moment you become a politician, you are a bad person, then we'll continue to allow the bad ones or the bad egg.
How do you identify the good Christians and the bad Christians?
From criteria of looking for a leader now, you will also see. So who is good in totality is only known to God. But by our actions and deeds, sometimes we can see who is sowing the seed of goodness. So let's start sensitizing people to say, okay, fine. When we are talking about politics, we should not say it from the angle of personal gain, personal interest, so that we don't discourage the good ones that actually have the ability and the genuine interest to lead.
Okay. My take would also have been that there's one thing I do whenever I come on live and I speak to people. I heard a statement from this guy they call Kanye West. I know you are familiar with Kanye West. And in one statement at some point, they were asking him about what was going on in a particular country. Maybe it's in Europe, and he was moving around, and he said, yes, I have heard about these things, but I don't have enough information to talk on these things. The things I truly care about is my people that are here right now. So since then, I embedded that thing into my head that most times a lot of us we go into conversations that we do not have clue about, just because it is a conversation that is rampant, or it's something that is viral or trending. We just want to include ourselves so we can have more subscribers, we can have more church members. People would say, yes, we are trending and the rest of it. For me, I think if you are a real man of God, you are mostly having a conscious mind of what
you
God
are saying
is actually asking you to say. When it comes to the aspect that you are even, let's just put it this way, that you are inclined or intelligent in certain areas, you can never be intelligent in every area.
Definitely.
There are things that you might be good at and there are things that you might not be good at. And when it comes to the political thing, I think it sucks for a man of God to be talking about political things. I think that political places should be held by the youth. Just like a lot of, if you look at most families today, many church has broken family.
Yeah.
Because most of these same pastors who are giving advice about marriage.
So I have a thing when we say many church has broken family. Because a pastor does not just make a church. You understand? So that is what I'm saying. A church as an institution has its core modus operandi. So, but that does not mean that some of its representatives or some of its workers or some of its apostles or disciples do not go astray. So, because if you are saying many church, we are generalizing the institution.
Let me ask you, let us look at these facts. In many churches that you know, at least we can very. Now, if you are not as religious as you are, let us look at it for a very good fact. Why do you think in most churches women are more than men?
Now women, they find miracle up and down.
What makes you think that men are pulling out? Because during some times when I used to go to church, most men were going to church.
Yeah.
But there was something that happened. Men begin to pull out of church. Why do you think that happened?
Women are more easily influenced and they are more emotional. A man is more rational. You understand? So
that's my point. The reason why he can think and make it that this place is not where I should go is because he knows it's not beneficial for me, because it's not impacting my family.
So that is why over time, you know, that is why I'm saying a lot of things is just wrong with us as Nigerians. The wrong definitions and practices of loyalty, you know, of accountability. Because I'm telling you, in a same country, the next election, many pastors' word will not count for anything.
Hopefully, you know, Nigeria.
Yes, no, Nigeria, I'm not having hope because when EndSARS happened, everybody were expecting this next election, this election that brought in the president, to be a complete overhaul of power. But so I don't know, something is just wrong with our IQ. I don't know who program does this way. So that's what I'm saying. In the same country, when a man of God, you know how many prophecies have been given and has gone to drain? Are you mocking God? That alone should tell you who your man of God is. But you see that our people is still being, they will not be the one to be giving, they'll be making excuses on behalf of the
pastors,
religious person.
Yeah. So when I was making a point that most churches has destroyed, the reality on the sense is that when people go to church, the reason is that most pastors today, they only want to say things that suit the woman, not the things that suit the family, because they understand that once they have the woman, they have the children. Kolade, get inside. Because they know once they have the woman, they have the children.
Yes.
The man is just an individual. So they say things to support the woman. In fact, when they want to do a lot of giving out, they talk about widows. But now only woman they die. Now only man they die.
They talk about widow.
They know they talk of men where they say himself in wife don't die. You understand? So they give to this set of people, and I think
it's just that a lot of misconception has gone into religion. Understand? A lot. Because normally the place, even this politics we are talking about, where does it start from? The family. And the earliest people that influence the family is the religion institution. That is why I am not completely supporting that they should not talk about politics. They should be preparing, speaking to the subconsciousness, helping everybody to grow with the right mind frame. If the institution is about God, you should be preparing your member. An average youth, do you know when they start? Do you know the kind of politics that go in the church?
Do you think they should be telling people? Let me first of all ask a question. Do you depend on everything you know that is right?
Not depend on everything I know. That is no.
Yeah. The purpose why we're
I'm
having,
not finite.
yeah, the purpose why we're having this conversation is that we're having a discussion and then we learn from it.
Yes.
Why we speak, and other people who would most likely watch it would also be able to learn from it.
Yes.
Now, when a pastor, what pastors do that I think is wrong, what I'm specifically saying is that them telling you that this is what is right and this is what is wrong, this is the right person, that's where the problem is. If they can tell the youth, let us talk about these political issues. Sometimes maybe it's not Sunday morning, but maybe in the evening we organize a program and say, let us all sit down and debate on subjects.
I agree with
like
your
this.
point. We are saying the same thing.
Because with that, people then become politically inclined. But when you as a pastor just give it as a law, then you are not giving them room to think.
And you are just bringing it up as a topic one day because there is election.
There is election, yes.
No, there should be that social consciousness or about good leadership, not just democracy or a Nigerian election that happen. Yes. There should be a social. So when your youth want to do their provincial, ordinary, or parish election, you should tell them that I'm not going to tell you who you should elect, but you should look at the attribute of what a good leader is. Vote with your conscience. Vote for somebody you know will do the work, not somebody that will give you excuse.
Yeah, so you remove the mentality of tribalism.
Tribalism, yes, that is where I'm driving to. Because we really need to change our narrative. We really need to change our the way we think. There need to be a paradigm shift. All these things we are doing in Nigeria, we are not ready. Not just to wake up one day and call for protest. We are not ready. If you know the amount of discrimination that go underneath the old issue, you will understand the fact that we are not ready. If an American is speaking to you as an American.
Now, a Nigerian man, white American, black American, they're having issues there.
No, definitely. Yeah, but racism is everywhere. You understand? But when you look at people coming, like putting the interest of a nation forward, as in Nigeria, our country, we are not doing so very well. We are not doing great. By now, I'm expecting that we should stop this discrimination of people saying, and our leaders too understand this, and that is why they are using it to divide us. Understand? Attaching the old negative outcome of the protest to a particular region or to a particular person. So there is a lot that needs to change within us, and that change needs to start from us as individuals by accepting the fact that this person, this Hausa man are my brother, this Yoruba man are my brother. If not, there cannot be a nation, let alone a good one.
So thank you very much. Let's just touch on the last one. What do you just think, just to round up today's conversation, what do you think is the support system that can be available for families during this time of protest, that people can actually do, apart from just that you think maybe in a community level, that people can actually reason together and maybe use this as an opportunity to reach out to other people? What do you think is possible that communities can do or families can actually do to
promote protest?
No, not to promote protest, to be able to, during this hard time, to be able to survive and make sure.
That's what I'm saying. This is the right time. Whatever good thing you've learned, maybe from your religious institution or from your community, this is the right time to practice goodness. Let me put it out. This is the right time to practice charity. This is the right time to practice love. You understand? So this is the right time to support one another. This is not the right time to do show off.
Yeah.
It's not the time to show your neighbor I pass on. No, it's not the right time. So this is the right time we genuinely look for one another. We genuinely donate for one another. This is the right time we need to support. So communities need to start bringing in support programs, voluntary donations, food collections of excesses, to start looking for those that do not actually have. So this is the right time to do that, Mr. Good, where you want to, you know. So if you have excess, you don't need to have excesses.
Yeah.
If your family can feed very well, this is the right time to spare a meal to feed another family.
Yeah.
So if your family have good wares, this is the right time to sacrifice one of your pair of jeans to a family that do not have. This is the right time to take in. This is not the right time to, you know, unfortunately, that is what most business are doing now, terminate people's contracts and stuff. This is the right time that instead of terminating, you can genuinely discuss with your employee that instead of me terminating, this is the reality. I can no longer afford this, your salary. Yes. Can you accept this? I mean, this is the right time. Negotiations just needs to work out. You understand? Yes. So because there is no any better support system that if it doesn't start from us, that will go well. And for our government leaders, our religious leaders, this is the right time also that if there is any support that is coming from government, don't give it to your families alone. If not, people will come after your family. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
If you keep feeding your family, that poor man's child, that poor man's daughter, that poor man's son has a breaking point. Yes. And when it's broken, it will look out for your own families. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
So, and I just want to also, you know, preach to us too as individuals. A lot needs to really change from us. Before you hold your leaders accountable, hold yourself accountable first. Hold yourself accountable. Are we being truthful to the way we live our lives? You know, our community leaders, how are we being truthful to those we lead? Fathers, how are you being truthful to your wife? How are you being faithful? Wife, how are you being faithful to your husband? How are you supporting your husband? This is not the time to do 1 million bread of 100,000 L. This is the time we need to be realistic, to be human, to be lovable, to manage, you understand, and to demand for accountability
with an organized way.
Yes, an organized way, definitely.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Emma, for joining us. So please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and the link below is the Big Man, the Big Emma podcast.
Yes.
That's where we're also going to be having part of our shows, and we are going to be having a lot of discussions. So thank you very much. See you next time.
Yes.
Adios, amigos. Bye bye for now.
Bye.